Fellow auto detailers, welcome to the show that features interviews with today's most successful auto detailers. This is the Auto Detailing Podcast. Here's your host, Jimbo Balaam.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to this episode 334 of the Auto Detailing Podcast. I'm Jimbo, your host. In this episode, I'm excited to meet up with a few guys from Oklahoma. And on their podcast, they have the Pints and Polishing Podcast, where they drink a few beers, talk about detailing, and they invited me on. So thanks to Marty and DJ and the other guy that I can't remember his name, and then there was another guy that I can't remember his name either because I'm terrible with names. But anyway, we had a great conversation, about an hour and a half worth of just back and forth banter, some jokes. There is some language in there, so if you have sensitive ears or can't take jokes or have little kids around, maybe stick some ear pods in or earbuds or whatever you have, or maybe even listen to it later. Not a whole lot of language, just a little bit here and there when that stuff kind of happens when you have five guys talking. So, but it's a really good podcast. I tell a little bit more about my story, which a lot of you have been asking for. So that's fun. And all around just had a great time. So I really hope you enjoy this episode of me on the Pints and Polishing Podcast. They're also on iTunes and Anchor and all that too. So if you are looking for more detailing related content, you can check them out as well. And this episode is brought to us by Auto Fiber. Auto Fiber back on the Auto Detailing Podcast train. And really when I was thinking about this episode and Auto Fiber and all that, I really wanted to start doing like a towel of the week because it can get so confusing. There's so many different GSMs, origins, just a bunch of, there's silk line, there's edgeless, there's zero edge, there's ultrasonic cut, there's all these different types of microfiber towels out on the market. And to add to even more confusion, companies add a bunch of random names to it. So it can really get confusing. So I really want to do like a towel of the week with Auto Fiber and talk about that towel. And really just to inform you as the listener, not to try to really sell anything. Obviously, that's the point, to sell stuff. But more than anything, I want this to be an informative podcast. So, and through that'll lead to sales, right? So, the towel of the week is actually going to be the kit, the Jimbo kit. And what I like about the Jimbo kit from Auto Fiber this week, or what I like about it all the time, but specifically this week, is that it gives you, there's probably 5 to 7, 8 different towels in there and a nice little kit. So it gets you, and how I established the kit was I went through all of Auto Fiber's arsenal, their whole inventory, and then handpicked the towels that I like the most. And what I like about it is it gives you an opportunity to really sample a lot of different towels from Auto Fiber. And then from there, I kind of use it as the lead in. So you can try a lot of different towels. And then from there, you can restock on the towels that you like the most. So anyway, the Jimbo kit from Auto Fiber is going to be the towel or towels of the week. This week, you can get it at Auto Fiber or JimboDaily.com. If you go to JimboDaily.com, let's do an offer code for, let's do 15% off if you use code podcast on the Jimbo kit. So if you go to JimboDaily.com, get 15% off of the Jimbo kit only if you use code podcast. So there we go. Here we go. Pints and Polishing Podcast. Here we go.
They're Instagramming live their trucks.
Oh, all right.
So anyway, what made you we got that story, you were kind of a clean freak. You didn't like working for other people. What made, tell me when you picked up a power washer, or how did you, or you don't do power washer, you do rinseless, right? Did you always do rinseless?
I didn't always do rinseless, and we can get into that too. So I was working at a restaurant and I was over it. And I was also going to community college.
Did you play on the girls softball team?
I was on volleyball.
Nice.
No, just kidding. Nothing. I never even went. I hated it. I always hated school too. So I was working at a restaurant, hating it, hating school, but I really liked cleaning my car. And I thought, man, I've always wanted to own my own business too. And I like this car cleaning thing. Like, and I was 19. I'm like, I wonder if this is a business. Like, I don't know. I should try it, huh? And then I'm like, well, who would pay me to do this? I'm like, well, no one at the restaurant has money except for the managers and the client and the customers, right? But I wasn't a server, so I didn't have direct access to the customers. So I'm like, I asked the managers, I'm like, hey guys, like, I'm starting this like car detailing, car cleaning thing. Like, anyone interested in getting their cars done? And one of the managers was like, yeah, I'll do it. And I was like, oh crap, that was easy. How about Tuesday? Instead of going to class, I'll clean your car and make some money. So I detailed that was my first client. I charged, I think, 60 or 80 bucks to do her car. I did it in like 4 hours, and I made more money in less time doing a car than I did working at the restaurant, right? And I was like, holy crap, like, this is awesome. Like, I think I can get paid for this. And so right then I just decided to start researching like mobile detailing, fixed location, like detailing business. I didn't even know if it could be a business. I had no idea. So I started researching all about it. Within a month, I had borrowed $5,000 from my dad. I had located a enclosed trailer that was already set up for detailing. I bought that on a Wednesday in May of 2008. And by that Friday, between Wednesday and Friday, I had kind of mocked up like a simple like package offering, a few different packages, printed it out on some paper, and I picked it up on a Wednesday. On Thursday, I was at my future in-laws' house cleaning their cars, kind of getting acquainted with a pressure washer and a water tank and towels and blah, 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 the whole setup. And then they happened to live on a corner lot in this neighborhood. And while I was there, before I even had time to get signage on the side of the trailer or any of that, one of their neighbors was like, hey, do you do car detailing? And I was like, yeah, I sure do.
And it just started rolling, like just started boom, boom, boom.
And it one after the next.
Yeah,
it had its ebbs and flows, but pretty much since May of 2008, I've been rocking and rolling. So about 4 months after I bought the trailer, I quit the.
That's awesome. DJ, you were 2008, right? 2009 with this one. Oh, 2009.
2009. So
when did you start the podcast?
Started the podcast in 2014. So
tell us about that.
Late July 2014. Well, I don't know about you guys.
What, like 200 or something?
333 just got released.
333?
Yeah, and
Congratulations, man.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
it's been
a journey.
Auto Detailing Podcast? No, Marty, it's the Auto Detailing Podcast.
It's the Auto Detailing Podcast.
Sorry,
yeah,
Jimbo.
so it's okay. We got a rookie on the line.
We have to deal with this. I only know because I was on 3 of the episodes.
Yeah, DJ. That's how me and DJ met. I think is because of the show, right, DJ?
That's right, man.
Yeah.
Well,
so yeah, we met up, had lunch. That was fun. But I don't know about you guys, but I was doing a lot of like corporate fleet washes and a lot of car washing. That's kind of what I cut my teeth on because that was the low hanging fruit. So for me, it became really monotonous and really boring, right? So I was constantly looking for stuff to like keep my mind occupied because by that time I'd gotten married, had a kid. And so I was locked in, right? Like I had to keep detailing, but it was getting really boring for me. So I started listening to podcasts and started with I had a little DeWalt radio out with me because I didn't have an iPhone yet. So I had the DeWalt radio, but that would run out of battery. I'd forget to charge it. Then I wouldn't have music or whatever. And then I finally got an iPhone, started listening to audiobooks, and then I found podcasts. So I was listening to podcasts for a long time, and I was hearing like the success stories of these guys who were starting podcasts and then making money from it, right? And at that same time, I was like, man, I got to get out of detailing. Like, this is a young man's game. I don't want to do this forever. Like, I need to start diversifying my income, because this is not going to work long term. I was doing I was probably doing at least 40 cars a week by myself. So I was just getting over it. I was getting burnt out. And so I was like, but I don't know what I would talk about, or like, and so this guy was like, you should start a podcast. And I'm like, what the frig would I talk about? Like, I have nothing to talk about. And he was like, hey, dumbass, haven't you been detailing for like 6 years? And I'm like, yeah, but I want to get out of detailing. He's like, don't you probably know like everything there is to talk about cleaning a car? And I'm like, well, I don't know about everything, but maybe like I could talk about a lot of stuff detailing wise. He's like, just start that, and I'm on a call. Yeah. And so he's like, why don't you just start talking about whatever your day-to-day detailing? I'm like, dude, there's got to be like a podcast on detailing. So I went on the podcast app, searched like auto detailing, and there was nothing. There was Larry Cosilla had released like one episode 6 months, and he had like 4 episodes, right? So there was no one doing like consistent detailing content. So I looked up the domain Auto Detailing Podcast. It was like $11.99. I couldn't believe it, and boom, I taught myself how to build a website and taught myself how to record a podcast before stuff like Anchor. And, like I didn't know you had to, this is how ignorant I was with the whole like online space. It confused me that you had to buy a domain and then have hosting. I didn't know why you had to have 2 different things. Right? So I went from there to trying to record a podcast and then get it on iTunes. I'm like, because you can't upload direct to iTunes. So like there was about a year of like this whole learning curve, of like online stuff.
Yeah, and definitely learning curves are a big deal, but it's successful now. I mean, that's badass.
Yeah.
Hey, we gotta look at this beer. All right. So when you guys tried it, we're about to pop open our second. What did you guys taste?
I could definitely taste spiciness, but honestly, that's about it for me.
Yeah. I mean, you got the ale part, right? Like, there's definitely a strong ale.
Yeah, for sure. But there's definitely a spicy note to it, like they suggest.
I could use more of the chili. Like I was looking for more spice.
Yeah, right.
Like the chili.
You would think because it's brewed with ancho chili.
Right. You would think there would be a little bit of steam, but there's no steam.
Do you like hot, like, is there such thing as like spicy beers?
Yes, I like it.
I know you do. I've seen your Instagram influencers, Marty.
Oh, you have you?
I've heard.
How many times have you seen them?
Well, I only see them when I go to your page and you repost.
All right, Ian. All right, so we are ready for the hot seat with Ian, also known as
the Thunderdome. Are you ready, Jimbo?
I'm ready. I was waiting for the music. Is that in post edit?
3 quick questions.
All right.
First question. What hair products do you use? Are you a gel man? Are you hairspray, mousse?
If it's going to be quick, I use a clay.
Okay. Now, clay's kind of like a pomade?
Like a pomade, but a different. So a pomade is really like jello-y and doesn't offer a lot of hold for straight hair. Works very good for curly hair and thick hair.
Okay.
Doesn't work good for thin straight hair.
So Marty and I wouldn't have to worry about this product.
Or DJ.
Or DJ would be more of a pomade guy, I would imagine. If you grew your hair out, right? It's probably thick and curly.
If you grew hair, you would actually have hair, right?
Does it fro? Have you ever grown it out and froze it?
Really weird, awkward.
Okay.
It just goes in all.
I would have done illegal things in middle school and high school to have a fro. Serious.
Okay.
Sure.
Second question. Your with dream car. That's what I was trying to say.
So more than a dream car, I have an FU money car.
Okay, well, there we
So
go. Same thing.
my FU money car is the Range Rover Autobiography Edition.
Oh, good choice.
So, because on a practical standpoint, those cars are such a bad decision from a money standpoint that you got to
Right.
have enough money to not care. So
Yeah.
Hey, DJ's pouring the drinks. Which one do you think is going to be the tallest?
Mine.
Negative. His, of course.
you guys are sharing beers?
Yeah, well, because it came in a 2-pack, and there's 3 of us, so we got.
Are you sharing glasses, or
Before
are
you
you
get
just
more. All right, last question.
okay?
Last question: if you weren't detailing, what do you think you'd be doing?
Oh man, you know what?
I know. I saved that one for last because I knew it'd be the most difficult.
I actually think I'd own a house cleaning business, and I'm forever grateful that cars got in the way, because that would be horrible.
Okay, so now, out of sheer curiosity, I have to ask: why do you say house cleaning?
Because I've started to realize I'm a clean freak.
Okay.
And so I
right.
think that I would have gotten so burnt out on working at the restaurant, and I really had no idea what I wanted to do other than I wanted to own my own business. So I think if cars weren't there, the only other thing I was doing was like fanatically cleaning my room. So and a second close one would have been like a lawn care business.
Okay.
You know what's best about those businesses that I envy is they can show up whenever the hell they want to show up.
Right?
They don't have to rely on a client. I mean,
True
you
that.
show up, you mow the
I
damn
know.
lawn.
Well, but not house cleaning. I mean, when I had a house cleaner, like, she told me when she was coming. Like,
Yeah,
I
but
expected
the house
her.
is
I'm like,
always there.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
the cars
Right.
never. I mean, the kid,
Yeah.
like, it's just
True.
It's the best.
And pool
interface.
cleaners too. They show up whenever.
And house cleaners, there's no weather. It's
Right.
like, if there's ice,
Yeah,
that's
it doesn't
about
matter. You can
Yep.
clean a house. Yeah.
Exactly.
So, Jimbo, I would say you sneaked out of that pretty easily. I was expecting some more interesting questions, but I think Ian was being a little bit soft.
All right, shoot, give me one.
Out of mad respect, I think he went soft.
Well,
that's like a new thing we're doing. So, you technically popped Ian's
I think
cherry.
I'm just that good.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
And Ian went soft. He popped his cherry and he went soft.
Soft.
Yeah.
All right.
Ian didn't go hard the first time.
Yeah. You got to ease into it.
Yeah, I got to ease into it. All right, so let's get into topic number 1. We got a couple topics, so we need to get rolling.
Let's do it.
That was really great.
Cut me off at any time. I can
story.
talk forever.
If
you couldn't tell.
you're good, bro. Let's each go around and say one thing. We'll start with Ian. What is, or I can start.
Yeah, start.
You got it. All right. What is one thing that you could think of that a detailer could do as like a second revenue stream?
Oh hell, that's easy.
Opposite, it can't be involved with detailing. You can use the same equipment, but it can't be.
I mean, it can be car related, right?
I don't know. What's your thing? What you go? What do you
I
got?
would say paint protection film.
No.
I have like 4.
Yeah. Well, you give one.
Do you want me to go, or you want me to go
Ian's
last?
going to give you one of his.
If it's got to be. Okay,
So I'll go with
me
mine.
out. Okay,
I'll start. So when I bought a power washer,
Okay.
and I started cleaning
now I
cars.
got- okay.
Yeah, and immediately I started looking at concrete differently.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went and my mom was working at that point in time. It was called Bank One.
That's no shit though. That's no
Crime
shit.
scene cleaner. Who
There's
said that?
serious money in that.
Yeah, that's true. Crime scene. That's true. And I saw a crime scene this week, which was pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
I was down in like Little Mexico dropping off some product, and there was like cop cars all around. They had tape line, and I stopped at the taco truck. Hell yeah. Of course, man. It was.
Oh man.
It was the best place. Anyway, so my mom was working at Bank One, which then got bought by Chase Bank, and she had her their teller lanes and everything was being cleaned. And I said, how do if I'm going to clean cars during the day, what else can I do? And so at night, I started cleaning concrete. I had to upgrade my power washer a little bit, get one with heat. I had to buy a surface cleaner, but that allowed me to, whether it was cold or I couldn't work detailing, I always had concrete that I could clean. So that is one other revenue stream as a detailer.
Yeah.
So, all right, you ready?
Well, because of coatings and stuff, you can get into kitchen coatings, appliances, furniture, whatever.
Or counters.
Or countertops. It's the same thing. Kitchen related stuff. showers.
I love that
one
idea. I
company
don't
that
think
we dealt
anyone.
with is called Back to Clean.
I don't think
Back to Clean.
Yeah.
Well, are we talking over each other?
Yeah. Sorry.
My bad.
You're both podcasting.
We're both
Yeah.
podcasting.
So you're both interrupting people.
We both
So
like to
anyway,
talk.
Back to Clean kills bacteria inside cars, and one of their second things you can do as a detailer is you can take the Back to Clean unit and put it inside houses or schools and run it through their ventilation and kill bacteria. All right, Jimbo, what's your one thing?
Oh man, I just thought of this one after you said it, and I tried it, and it's actually could be a very viable business. Odor removal in apartments and houses.
Odor removal.
Nice.
So, or
Odor
pressure
remover
washing,
in an
window
apartment.
cleaning, lawn care, house cleaning.
There'd be some serious money in that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Have you looked into it?
I did it for a while actually. The problem became that the market for it was more around the downtown LA area, and I'm about 30 miles outside of downtown LA area, and getting there sucks. So the thing with doing odor removal is you set up the machines and you leave, right? So, but downtown LA for me could be 30 minutes on a Sunday morning and could be 2.5 hours on a Friday afternoon. Right. So it's like, well, like I had a few jobs in Beverly Hills, and they could be good paying jobs, right? There was no job under like $250, which sounds great. But when your machines have to run for 6 to 8 hours and you're 30 miles away, it got into like, well, what do I do? Do I go home and come back? Well, that seems like a lot of driving, or do I hang out in LA all day? And it's like, well, that's only cool for like one time, So it became, and then I tried to hire a guy to do it because I'm like, well, shoot, I could pay him $150 to go spend the day in LA. I could still make my couple hundred and all is good. But DJ, as you know, with employees, sometimes they never treat your customers like you do. So that became an issue. So I dropped it.
DJ knows nothing about that. Zero.
He just drinks beer and records podcasts all day.
Yeah.
I get it.
If I could have any job, yeah, I mean that would do it, man.
Yeah.
All right, DJ, what's your one thing?
One thing. I don't know what time we're thinking about this. I mean, so you've got. I'm just gonna name out a couple of things I actually can do.
Hey, Jimbo wasn't allowed.
Yeah.
I don't give a damn. This is in Jimbo's podcast.
Hey.
His podcast.
Oh wow!
He can do whatever the hell he wants to do.
DJ's trumping him.
Oh.
No. One thing you can do car seat cleaning.
Yep.
That's for sure. Because you've got a steam cleaner, you've got an extractor, you've got your carpet cleaner, and so forth. But we use plant-based, so it's a lot more easy with the moms that way. You can do that, and I think you said
wording.
Little small
Easy
plug.
with the moms, huh?
Easy with the moms.
Easy with the
I
moms.
like to use plant-based products.
Yeah.
Ian, hey, I suggest you get some plant-based products, man.
Yeah.
you can
Support single mothers.
Yeah, there you go. Nicely done.
Can you target them on Facebook, or is that Tinder thing that you target them on?
I mean, also, we're going to let that one. Also, so you did mention back to clean, though. So you can do back to clean in like schools. I mean, okay, hold on. Let me backtrack. I had one good one. Carpet cleaning.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Carpet cleaning in houses and house cleaning as well.
Yep.
We get asked to do all kinds of random crap like, can you clean the stain out of my couch? Can you clean the stain out of my carpet? Can you clean the grout in my house because you got steam cleaners? I mean, so Marty talked about using your equipment to do other things with revenue, and those are the things you can do it. I mean, you're at someone's home, so you got garages you can clean out. You can organize garages. You can clean garages. You can power wash driveways. You can do you can do so much.
Yep.
What's the guy's name? With the black van that comes up here sometimes.
Ramos.
Lorenzo.
Yeah.
Lorenzo. This guy's got everything in his van from like headlight, not headlight restoration.
You can do everything.
He can paint a car to the
Yep.
But yeah, there's just so much you can do with your current equipment. They can add an extra $100 an hour.
Nice. Those are definitely some good tips that people could use. I did, like you really could. If you're a detail and you're listening,
And you need money.
And you need money.
You
or
got
like,
options.
you
got options.
Yeah, like you need to grow, and you're sitting there going, okay, shit, I don't know if I'm going to pay rent or how am I going to do. Like literally, I was there. There was times that like I paid rent, and I didn't know if I was going to make rent the next month, but I knew I had a place to live for 30 days.
Yeah.
So you can start thinking of some other ways in case the cars aren't coming. What are some other ways you can do it? All right, so we have popped open our second beer. This is a double white ale, right? And this is the Game of Thrones Winter is Here double white ale. I would say, damn, this is one of the smoothest beers I've drank.
It's good. Like the first swig was like, oh, I don't know, but I like it now.
Yeah.
A sweet beer sounds good. You know what, Marty? You've inspired me. Maybe I need to try some beers.
Jimbo, that's what I was thinking. Like, I was like, you really should have just grabbed something.
Should have.
That would have been super fun if you just grabbed,
I have some Coors Light in my fridge.
Coors Light in your fridge.
What's up? I knew you were the shit, Jimbo.
Brother from another mother.
That's what.
They've been there since New Year's.
Favorite beer of all time.
They've been there since New Year's Eve.
There you go. Keep it there. Actually, go grab it, man. You should grab it and take a swig and tell us what you taste.
I should.
I'll tell you right now.
Yeah.
He tastes piss out of the Rockies.
Yeah.
No,
Pure heaven.
piss from the Rockies is what he tastes.
The golden nectar of the
Yeah. That's
All
what my mom would say.
right, so, first beer. Did we rate the first beer?
No, we did not.
We didn't.
No, we didn't.
How are you going to rate the first beer?
3.
Yeah.
Like I'm not.
Yeah.
There's nothing special. Oh
wasn't.
my god.
I was expecting more. Sort of like what happens,
Yeah, right.
after I'm done and she's like, oh, I was expecting more. I'm like, well, you got what you got.
Oh man, I was gonna play this on my show, but I don't know anymore.
Yeah. This is how we roll.
Might not. Put that parental advisory thing on there.
Yeah. Do not play us around.
Right?
Yeah, I'm probably even gonna go at 2.5.
Yeah.
Like I was super disappointed. I was thinking because I've had some like jalapeno beers, I've had some chili beers, and it just had more kick to it.
Yeah.
And some of them were too much. This was not enough. I didn't taste any chili or spice.
No,
the ale part was fine, but if you're gonna say ancho or what is
it? With ancho chili.
Yeah, if you're gonna say that, you better have some chili on it.
Bring it.
Yeah. What do you got, DJ?
Freaking 2.
2?
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
man,
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah, it was. I mean,
It's lackluster.
Yeah. Jimbo, how'd you rate your LaCroix? Which flavor did you choose?
dude, what flavor do you choose though on a regular?
I've never had a bad flavor of LaCroix. I
Really?
haven't.
Okay, what color is
Oh,
LaCroix?
it's
No. It's amazing.
It's
They
amazing.
changed their formula and it's better,
I
right?
we
Before
gotta
it was
debate.
dry
We
and
have a
like
debate.
you like it because you like dry wine, but LaCroix
Yes,
is a bit dry.
You cannot.
Fight.
No, you can't. You can't compare wine to LaCroix.
Yes, you could. Very much you could.
I've never
You
tried the
can fish
coconut.
wine.
I've never tried the
Well, yeah.
coconut because I don't like
Yeah,
coconut.
what's wrong with that?
Oh man.
Oh no, moving on.
All right, what flavor did you choose?
I have pomegranate.
Yes.
There we go.
That's when you really know you like LaCroix. That's like one of the most unique flavors I believe.
You know what though? The lime and I think it's the lime. It kind of tastes like Sprite. And I'm like, if you were trying to like not drink soda, which I don't advocate, I advocate drinking soda. But if you were trying to quit, like a lime LaCroix gets pretty dang close to a Sprite.
I'm not trying to quit, but
Yeah,
I'll
I
try.
could go with like some LaCroix and some vodka.
Hey.
That might be a nice combination.
That would work.
Yeah.
That would work.
All right, so let's go topic number 2. And this is interesting. We're talking, so, and
serious.
yeah, this one gets a little serious. It gets a little bit more serious because, Jimbo, when you and I were talking the other day, this was one of the subjects that you brought up. And I specifically remember one of our main accounts when I was a mobile detailer was at Warren Place. And we would show up every 2 weeks. We sent out an email blast to everybody. They went onto our website, signed out a form. I was there at least 2 days out of the week, sometimes 3, depending on how many cars, right?
Mm-hmm.
But at least 2 days that week. And I remember working on this car, bending down to start cleaning the bottom, and I just went, I love it. Like, I was working for some place, and so this was, like you said, I was a bad employee. Yep. This gave me freedom. I loved it, but I just went, there's no way I could do this the rest of my life.
Yeah, you're feeling the effects.
Yeah, it is a physically demanding job.
Yep.
There's some ones in the freezer. And so I specifically went, okay, what else can I do? And I started brainstorming over the next few days. And that's honestly how I came into the car washing.
Yep.
And I went, love cleaning cars. How can I clean more cars? And the next step for me was to start a car wash. And so what we're talking about is, what's your end game? Like, how could you, as a detailer, do you want to just have a shop your whole life, which is few and far between? I mean, there's a couple guys that are older and have a shop, but that's like 2 out of 1,000.
Right.
So what is something that you can use in your history or your life to create a
what's after
detailing?
Well, it might not be necessarily after. So for me, like I said, I went car washing, and now I'm chemicals. So how do you, if you want to stay in the business or in the relative of cars, or do you want to go, but what could a detailer that's been doing it young and, it might not be to 25 or 30 yet. What is something that they could do to put themselves in position to move on to the next thing?
I think the most profitable route is well, I don't know, but my initial end goal was a car wash. Like, I'm going to own a car wash one day, because I didn't know all the, like, how bad a car wash was or isn't, or whatever detailers think. I just knew, I knew this girl that worked at a car wash, and they were doing like 200 cars a day. And I was like, you know what? That sounds like money. So I'm like, I'm going to learn this detail thing, and then I'm going to freaking own a car wash. But,
right. I mean, you clean more cars.
Yep.
You make more money. Like, that's exactly what I thought too.
And I think the most obvious route that a lot of people go is they work for a car care company, right? It's like, and I think that's the goal of a lot of detailers, is like, oh, I'll get picked up by the McGuires, by the Mothers, by the this, by the that, and I'll just,
become a spokesperson.
I'll just become a spokesperson. And
well, that's relatively new. That didn't used to happen.
Right. It wasn't as frequent, but I think a lot of guys are going that route now, which I think is cool if that's what you want. That's, not necessarily what I want, unless I don't know, it not necessarily, but I wouldn't be opposed to it. But I wouldn't want to be restricted by that. Right. So that's where the downside.
It would be hard to go work for something.
Yeah, it's demanding in that way. You're going to have to travel, and
And I see these guys, and I'm like, dude, traveling sounds great, and I see some of these guys going out of the country. I'm like, but I got kids, man, like, and young kids, and as you start looking at this as a bigger picture, and like, I think what guys need to do, and I've want some guys to do this, is like, what is your end goal, right? But like, what kind of lifestyle do you want? Because traveling's cool, exactly. But dude, after you see 3-4 hotel rooms, like, you've seen the inside of a hotel room.
Old, man.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't really want to
exactly what you mean.
I don't need to see another inside of an airplane. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to stand in another security line. And it's like, yeah, it may be cool to go see all these other parts of the country, and I like it, and detailing has brought me some of those places, but like, you do it a few times and you're kind of over it.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more.
So I mean, what's like, I get the things not to do what you're saying, but let's say, like, what's something that they could be doing now? And I don't mean like, I'm not saying what's the end goal. I'm saying, what's something that they could do tomorrow to get them in position for their end goal? That's what I'm saying.
I think, and one thing I didn't do enough and still don't do enough, is I think every single person, every single detailer should be taking pictures and videos and recording tips, whether it's video or audio, and just recording it. Even if they never put it out, they have it. Because I think, and I don't know if you guys have started to see this with your podcast, but with my podcast, it's like, at the end of the day, I'm a nobody, single man mobile detailer in Orange County, California. No one knew who I was in May of 2008 until July of 2014 outside of my clients. No one knew who I was, right? And I still consider myself a nobody. But it's like all I started doing was talking about how I apply tire shine, the stuff I was already doing, right? And if I would have taken more pictures, more videos, I would have been way further ahead of the game than I am now, right? So I encourage guys, like, just record what you're already doing and just put it out on the internet. See if your style resonates with people, and maybe that will lead to something else that you don't even know exists, you know?
Yeah, I think you're talking about documenting, right?
Well, and not to steal Gary V's, but I know you're a Gary V fan. But yeah, just document what you're doing.
Let me dig deeper in that. So why?
Because you're already doing it and you don't know who will see it that'll resonate, and maybe you do want to get out of detailing, and maybe someone that isn't in the detailing space, but he's, you know, a healthcare guy or owns another business, and for whatever reason your personality resonates with him and he wants to recruit you to do something else. The internet is so big and so vast, and there's so much opportunity out in the world that maybe it'll be detailing in your detailing video that segues you into a separate opportunity.
So you're just talking about just putting out content just out the wazoo just because. Right?
Even if you suck. I mean, who cares?
So, yeah, and one person that's good at that is freaking Marty. He puts out shit all the time. Like, dude, your video was blurry. Mm-hmm. It was crooked. You misspelled this. But he puts stuff out so much, and it's like, I get it. It works, you know?
Oh, I thought you were going to say I suck. That's what I thought.
No.
It was like, it sucks. And there's like, that's Marty.
Okay.
He sucks.
To me and Ian, the quality of the video sucks sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, you might mispronounce something. It might be blurry. You might cut out. But, like, you put out so much content, it works.
Yeah. Well, it's like Gary Vee talks about in his book, Crush It. Just put it out.
Just put it out. Who cares?
Yeah, exactly. Just put it out there. And then even if you have 2 viewers, who gives a shit?
Yep.
Hopefully that's the right 2 people you want viewing your content.
Yep.
You know, don't worry about the numbers, worry about quality, and put out actual, you know, good content that provides value to people.
And I think even if you don't want to get out of detailing, right? Even if you do think, even if you're still naive to think that you're going to be doing this when you're 80, like still put out content and then just target it towards your local area, because then other customers that are looking for detailers or having their car cleaned or whatever, they may stumble across your content. And it's like,
well, I mean, even the DIY guys, they might learn something.
Maybe they will. They probably will.
You know, exactly. They're like their little tips. And then maybe, you know, they do a majority of the work themselves, but now that you're in the forefront of their mind when it comes to more detailed stuff like paint correction or coating or whatever, they're going to look you up.
And even if it never leads to anything, I think I don't know. I'm a huge fan of just putting out content and just providing value for people. And if nothing else, look at this. It's 4 dudes that get to have a conversation and you guys are drinking beer. Like, that's not a bad thing either. You know what I mean? And why are we all doing this? It's like, because I started a podcast and you started a podcast, and we want to have a conversation to help other people. It's like,
that's a good segue into the next topic, which is like personally, no.
Well, hold on. Before we go there. Sure. I wanted to hear more about his hair, because he was talking about.
What the fuck are you talking about?
He said 4 dudes drinking a beer, but we mostly are concerned about his hair.
I get it.
No, we're putting out good content right now to be valuable to our listeners and not bore the hell out of them.
So anyway, funny story.
Oh my God, he's still going.
When I first met Jimbo, we
share and redo it.
We DJ told me to share and redo it. When we first met, do you remember, Jimbo, when we met at that little restaurant? I was visiting my kids in San Diego.
Yep.
And that was the first time we met.
That awesome lobster we had.
Oh gosh, that was incredible with the elote.
Dude, the elote, come on, that stole the show.
Oh man, that elote was incredible. But I I'd never met you. I was like, how am I going to recognize him? But I went, oh, that's him.
The hair.
I could see the hair.
I remember.
All right. So, but before we get into that, DJ, the reason why I want to say hold on is because it doesn't like your point about it doesn't matter what the content, how good it is. Like the more you work on something, the better you'll get. Right. Yep. And so if technology is headed one way and we don't necessarily know what our industry is going to be like, but most likely as long as there's cars, people are going to get them clean. All right. But if you can start processing information, putting it out there, being good on videos or taking better photos, like the sky's the limits. Like we just talked about, what are some other things that a detailer could use with his equipment? But if you could get badass at taking videos, like you could start getting videos for food. You could start getting videos for a gas station. Like it doesn't matter. The sky's the limit. If you're a good videographer and you start learning that and start editing videos,
it's a great point.
Like you could literally go do anything
That's
you
want.
That's a great
point.
Yeah, I mean, dude, because of the growth of our industry, we are most certainly in a unprecedented era of detailing because of social media and the advancement of technology, coatings. Like there is so much growth that a detailer has and is capable of because of all of this.
Yep.
And I mean, it's a great time, honestly, to be a detailer. I mean, outside of just, even a business owner in general, but detailing specifically, I think we are in the great time period.
And I think the detailing industry is exploding and about to explode even more. I don't think I've ever seen this much interest in the car cleaning space ever, at least as long as I've been around. And I think I think every industry has its time, and Marty, I know you listen to a lot of Gary Vee's content, and or maybe you all do. And wine was big for him, right? And then he became the wine guy and all that. And I'm like, I guess wine has always had its place, but I just have this feeling of like, man, detailing has always been in the shadows. I feel like, and I feel like it's just coming.
Yeah, we're like
the black sheep. No one cares about us, and I feel like we're about to have our time, and I'm like so excited by that of like, man, we're going to get ours now, like detailing's about to become mainstream. This is going to be so cool. And it's cool to watch it kind of happen. And I don't know if you guys have a feeling like that, but I sure do about it.
Does it worry you, Jimbo? Like how easy it is to be, like as far as competition goes?
Not at all, because I think, especially for like a detailing business, I always think that like your personality and how you can talk to a customer is really going to be the deciding factor, and how you follow up with a customer. So customer service and like I tell a lot of these detailers too that reach in from the podcast and stuff, like knowing how to detail a car is only part of the game, man.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean?
Like
so many.
Hey, Jimbo, so we have a very special guest that just came in. Super special. We're talking about young guys. He's special.
Special needs,
he rode the extra short bus. Like it had one window.
You guys are my type. Not politically correct at all.
He's just turned 24. So he's a very young pup.
All right.
And
does he have a name?
We want to hear from him about. We're talking about what's your end game. Like when you think of detailing, do you think of detailing as you're going to do that? So we said there's a few people, like 2 out of 1,000, that can detail until they're 80. One of those 2 people is your father.
Oh yeah.
That dude. Manny is the man. There's nobody that could detail as long as him. How old is he?
I believe he's 47.
47?
Looks like he's 24.
So he's still rocking and rolling. But when you think of being 24 and being,
I take the back. I think he's born in '68. So what year is that?
it's not 47.
50.
Yeah.
He's 50.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I was like,
Is he still watching?
he was on there earlier.
Oh, was he really? He has an Instagram?
Yeah. So when you think you're 24 and you think like I'm oldest to you, I have to beep it out because.
Yeah.
Oh, are you not putting it on your podcast?
Me? Oh, I'm for sure playing this on my podcast.
Okay, good. So, well, we didn't know if we could.
Didn't we just talk about not having? Didn't we just talk about putting out content no matter what?
Hey, there we go. Nice job. So when you think, damn, I'm 40, that dude's old as fuck.
Yep.
Do you think? Do you think that you'll still be detailing?
No.
Okay, so when you think,
Will I be involved in it? Yes. For my whole life.
why?
It's just a part of you.
Mm-hmm.
Passion. Like I would detail if I wasn't getting paid to do it.
Whoa.
Actually, yeah.
Hey, that's cool. I got 3 cars right outside.
And no money.
If I had let's say I had a desk job that paid millions of dollars, I would still detail my cars at home.
Yeah. Okay.
In a sense like that. Yeah.
A desk job that pays millions?
There's no way, but
Wow.
I was just using an example.
Can I have that?
Well, some people sit at a desk and make millions.
As a desk. Where's the
Use
millions?
Yeah, you don't have to.
All right, so when you think, because we're talking right now about like in game, how can somebody prepare themselves to exit if they need to exit? What is something that you think we're all old people, so in your mind, like, what's something that you think that somebody else could do of your age to get you to move to the next step in life?
Well, they could do what I do and get a part-time job with a chemical distributor, the best one in town, Total Auto Solutions, or or a car wash, or find a backup job, or something that you can continue to grow with your business, and you can grow both your business and yourself with another company as well. So you have 2 ways and two revenues. Right?
That's a great idea.
Like another revenue stream, which we talked about earlier.
Yep, that's a great idea. So where do you see yourself at 40 if you're not detailing? What are you? I guess you just talked about it. You're working with Marty and stuff. So you're
myself. What I see at 40, I don't know. I'm really involved in cars, and I see myself still owning detailing type stuff and car washes. Marty hates the idea of car wash and always tells me no, but I like the idea of owning a car wash, like an automatic car wash.
Yeah.
Wait,
He tells me owning a car wash is expensive and it's not something.
I don't say don't do it.
But
I used to own one, so yeah
because
I'd love to do another one.
I'm really intrigued by owning a car wash.
Yep.
Or a car wash.
Right. So this is funny. So we talked about this a little bit earlier. I had the same idea. Jimbo had the same idea. He wanted to own a car wash. You had the same idea. You want to own a car wash.
Let's open a car.
No. Here's the interesting perspective. Because if you scroll through Instagram, how many times do detailers post photos of don't go through a car wash? Here's what happens. But what is the best way of making money on cleaning cars? A car wash.
Yep.
Do the math at $13. We'll say a minimum of $10 a car, and they do 200 cars a day.
Yeah.
Maybe 100 in Tulsa.
Yep.
And you're not doing anything besides letting a car go through.
So I
You've got
wanted to.
maintenance. there's plenty to do.
So to be fair, I want to save car paint, so I don't want to own a tunnel now. I want to own a coin op.
You want to reemerge an old dinosaur.
Yep. I want the coin op.
I want one that has like a building, like a lube building connected to it, and turn it into like a detail shop. That'd be really
Yep.
cool.
You and lube, I tell you what. All right, so we need to rate our second beer. It was the White Ale.
Yeah, White Ale, the king of the north.
Yeah. I'm gonna give it a 4. Really? I thought it was really good. I could drink that over and over. It's very similar to Cold Snap.
Yeah.
From
It's got a high drinkability.
from Samuel Adams, Cold Snap. I thought it was very, very similar, and I love Cold Snap.
It's got a high drinkability, but like I mean, I'm not crazy about it. 3.5.
Okay. DJ?
The last one. Yeah, it was better than the first one for sure.
Yeah,
I'll give it a
for
3.
sure.
Where are you guys? Am I on the fifth one?
Oh no, those are just.
Oh,
sip
yeah,
beers,
we're on
so we
third.
keep drinking.
What's this one number for you guys?
We're on 3. You got a long ways to catch up.
This is 3.
Yeah.
Okay. I'd rate this. Look at
What do you got there? You got a Sam Adams 76. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's got just a slight bit of hops. Slight bit of hops. Right, bad name. Sam 76. Like, that's a bad name. Well, you got Porch Rocker. That's a pretty good beer. Well, you got Hoppy Wheat Ale. Yeah, I would not take that. No, that's got a little too much hops. That 76, a little too much hops for a girl. Yeah, Porch Rocker's good. I like it. Yeah, Porch Rocker. All right, we're rating beer. Sorry, Jimbo.
No worries. This is not your fault.
Are you on your second LaCroix yet, or what?
Dude, if I could pound beers like LaCroix, I'd be in serious trouble.
Dude, he's got 2 pinkies up right now.
Yeah. I have one of those hats on, like those beer hats that you put the can with the tube. I got that by LaCroix.
That's awesome.
Yeah, hands free, baby.
Final topic. We're like 47 minutes plus the earlier. We're pushing an hour, so.
Don't listen, Jimbo's on here. Though.
Yeah, they will. Jimbo's on, so they will keep listening
right now.
That's true.
Yep. So
Thank you, Jimbo.
You're welcome.
Increasing our ratings.
Yeah, I don't know, man. The verdict's. Does this go out right away, or are we just recording this?
It'll be out tomorrow.
Okay.
No, I got to push it out tonight because Anchor's made a thing where if you did a podcast today,
it's going out tonight.
It might get published as their feature podcast. So
okay.
I'm gonna push it out tonight. All right. So topic number 3, which DJ was trying to segue into earlier, which was a good time.
I was trying to segue.
But we were going through a couple things. Anyway, Jimbo, you made the comment to me that somebody came up to you. Hold on, Jimbo. I apologize.
Oh.
I am very disappointed. I am very disappointed in myself. I had it sitting over there
Jimbo,
waiting.
if you're not watching live on Instagram, I don't know what the fuck you're doing.
Did Marty just take his shirt off, or what happened?
He put your hat on.
All right. Woo!
On Instagram Live.
Nice. Whoa.
I'm thoroughly disappointed.
Oh my gosh.
I had that sitting over there.
I better put another order in for hats because I think I'm selling out tonight.
You're gonna sell out. Yep. Dude, he looks legit. Look at that.
I bet.
I got to turn to the side a little bit.
Oh, okay.
And like that.
Shoot.
Up, like,
hell yeah.
All right.
That's definitely
Take a picture and send it to me. That's going to be the cover art when I release my podcast.
We're all going to take a picture with the beer, with the hat.
There we go.
There we go. Yeah, so at the end, we always take a selfie. So you have to send us a selfie.
Yes,
we'll all put the hat on and
He's
take a
got to
selfie.
take through all of his selfies in his phone. That's going to take him forever.
That is going to take
Yeah. No worries. I got a selfie
You
stick.
got it. You got it. All right. So our last topic, which is a perfect segue. Sorry. Anyway, earlier we were talking about what a detailer could do to move on to the next. And you had mentioned before that some different detailers came up and talked to you about how did you create that logo, which is a big J, which is a really cool. It's got like a little bit to it.
It's actually a J and a B.
Is it really?
It is.
Oh,
hold on. Yeah, Jimbo Balaam. You don't see that?
Where's
the J and the B?
I just saw the J.
B's right here.
And that's exactly what I wanted.
Oh,
Yeah.
Wow, man. You got to knock the detail there, man.
I just thought it was like a circle-y
No, that's
thing.
freaking genius.
That's a B.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, only smart people would get that, and I don't get it.
Right. I barely made it out of high school.
Me too.
What college?
You went to community college, right?
I was taking a test in statistics class, and I was like, you know what? That's it.
Yeah, DJ.
I literally did. I walked out on the statistics test and said, you know what? I'm going to clean a car.
I'm done. He dropped out of community college.
I did, for details.
So did I. I remember people in high school asking me, like, they were all getting ready for the SATs, and I'm like, what's that? And they're like, what? You're not taking it? I'm like, I don't even know what it is, and when is it? They're like, this Saturday. I'm like, yep, I'm definitely not taking that, whatever that means.
Yeah, I had to take it. I went to a college preparatory school.
Oh.
And I made like an 800.
All right.
There was a guy.
Is that good or bad or?
No, that's bad.
Oh, okay.
1600 is like the score. There was a guy in our class that he was on the news because he made a perfect 1600 on the SAT.
Good for him.
Yeah, good for him. Like, what is he doing now?
Yeah, what's he doing now? You should have him on the podcast. Probably riding a desk somewhere, huh?
No, he's probably like a rocket scientist.
Whatever.
Anyway.
He's probably not having as much fun. How about that? All right, we got to make ourselves feel a little bit better.
Well, no, I'm full supportive of the smart people.
Whatever.
You know, they've got to run the world while we.
Yep.
You know, do our thing.
That's right.
Yeah. All right, so you had some people approach you and ask you, well, how did you even do that logo?
Yeah.
So a great segue, which DJ was trying to bring up, and a great segue in a sense of for a detailer with technology today, with the environment of the internet, and we talked about, hey, if you're good at videos, like get better, like you can literally create a personal brand. And that's something that you've done.
Yep.
That's something that I think there's a debate on whether or not your Instagram profile should be your business or you should have your own. I know there's different. I've talked to Justin Labato a bunch of times, and I've said, hey, Justin, what's your personal Instagram? He's like, oh, no, I only have business because that's what I am 24/7. I was like, okay, like, I get it. Like that's the way he rolls.
Sure.
Mad respect. He's totally, and that's a dude that's jumped out full-fledged and getting into all kinds of stuff, but it's all under the business brand.
Mm-hmm.
So why did you go with not just a business brand? Why did you go with the Jimbo personal brand?
I think it's an extension of me always wanting to get out of detailing. Right. So for me, I've built this brand inside of detailing, right? The Auto Detailing Podcast, the Detailer Inner Circle, all these things that are all about detailing. But I wanted something that could work in the detailing space and then always gave me an out that, or not that it gave me an out. Maybe I'm saying that wrong. But
different avenue.
I wanted something that gave me a different avenue, right? And I always wanted an icon. Like something that would work on a hat, that would work on a shirt, that would work as a sticker, that would work like anywhere, right? And that it was mine and something that I could pass down to like my kids if they wanted it or just something cool, right? And so I didn't think it needed to be anything specific, right? Other than my name, because I think everyone should be creating their own brand, right? Because even when we talked about earlier, like people getting out of the physical side of detailing and then going and working for a company, right? It's like, I think even if you do that, you need to create your own brand, right? Because that company may drop you at any time, and who are you outside of that brand? For a lot of people, as soon as they remove, the title that they work for a company, they're a brand rep for a company. Outside of that, they're really nobody. You know what I mean? Because they haven't built up their personal brand. Yep. You know what I mean? They're just, Jimbo with whatever company. They're not, so anyway, I started thinking about that and like, okay, well, I want to have a personal brand that I can, because I like more than just detailing, right? And so I thought, well, if I ever want to, anyway, long story. So that's kind of the thought behind it of I want something that works in a plethora of situations, right? So
yeah, no,
Couldn't
And
agree more.
but I'm
Personal
very
brand is just as important.
yeah, and I'm not a graphic designer or a graphic guy at all. Like I'm graphically and geographically, which I learned at Mobile Tech, retarded, right? I I suck. Like I know when something looks cool, but I couldn't like even remotely do it, right? So I getting this like vision out of my head that I wanted for like this icon uh, design was really difficult, and I met with a few local graphic designers and stuff like that, and no one could really pull that vision out of my head, right? Because I couldn't explain it. I'm retarded, So I was like,
Yeah.
I want like these lines and the stuff.
Hey, so Jimbo, will you do me a
Yep.
favor? Will you look to your left shoulder and like hit your chest and bite your ear?
Sure.
Horrible.
I know.
Anyways,
Dude, that's like middle school. That's like throwback.
When we didn't know it was wrong.
yeah.
That's straight throwback from middle school.
All right.
But my bad. You just said you were retarded, so we.
Gotcha. I'm slow.
You're slow,
right?
Well, we're on beer number 4.
There you go. The jokes keep getting worse. Anyway.
Yes, they will get worse and worse.
So I was thumbing through Instagram one day, and I came across a picture of Gary Vee. He was at the Cannes Film Festival, and he was launching his Vayner X, right? And he had like this flag behind him, and it had the Vayner X logo on it, right? And I clicked the picture to see who was tagged, and the guy who designed the Vayner X logo was tagged in it. So I went to his Instagram page, and he's a graphic designer for Vayner Media, right? And I thought, oh, wow, how cool would that be to have one of Gary Vee's designers design my icon, my logo, right?
That's pretty cool.
And I'm like, you know what? That's probably like super expensive. And so I DM'd him on Instagram, and I'm like, hey, I kind of got this vision for an icon logo, blah, blah, blah. Like, how much would it be? And I'm thinking like $5,000, $10,000. Like, I don't know. I have no idea, right? And he writes back, and he's like, $250. And I was like, what? I was like, deal, done.
Hey, say that again.
What? I couldn't believe it. And so he took me down talk about like the customer experience. This guy, his name's Chris, took me down the most incredible graphic design route I've ever experienced. And the birth of it was the icon that you see. So, and I get to say forever that one of Gary Vee's guys designed my icon.
There you go.
Hell yeah, that's awesome.
So yeah.
All right, so when we're thinking, but let's talk personal branding, okay? And it's great because Cody has come back in, and when we're talking a detailer, like let's just put it into their perspective. Like let's say that they're a mobile detailer or a shop. They're busting tail all day trying to get shit done. How does somebody create, right? So you reached out to them. Somebody could go to a Fiverr. They could go to 99 Designs.
$16.
Right?
Yep.
There's some different websites that they could get the logo, and they could create their own name type logo. But what do they do next? I mean, how does somebody that wants to create? I'm going to ask DJ this because DJ's trying to transition business of transition to a personal branding. So if we think that if level, so to speak, move on, or we want to be able to create an avenue, how does a detailer create a personal brand beyond just the logo? Like, what steps do they need to do?
Are you talking to me, or did you say that was for DJ? Okay.
That was for DJ. And I stumped him. Yeah, he's really having to think.
No,
That's
because
it's a deep question.
We're talking. Okay, wrap it up again in a nutshell. the question, please.
The question was basically, in order to create a personal brand, what steps should someone take outside of obviously just a logo? Because it is at the end of the day more than just a logo.
It's way more than a logo. You got to have the skill set behind it and the actual track record. So, this is my answer.
You're rolling.
Okay, so, I believe whatever industry it is that you're trying to help, I guess you can say, you need to be an expert in the industry. You can't walk into an industry like carpet cleaning and then come from an accounting job and say, I'm going to teach you how to be the best carpet cleaner in the entire world. I'm going to teach you how to run your business. Now you can have systems, you can teach systems and so forth, but you don't really know what it's like from the ground level up. So I think having that advantage of being at the ground level up, working up the trunk of your car like I did from the start, and coming to where I am today with 3 trucks and a 6-figure business and so forth, and 6 to 8 employees most time, like that's when you can really, okay, this guy knows what he's doing, knows what he's saying, knows what he's talking about. Let me listen to him. Let him be my mentor and so forth. Opposed to someone, it's like, okay, for instance, like there's certain coatings that are floating around on the market, on the web, online that are just like came out of the blue, and they have heavy marketing. I think we all know who we're talking about here, and it's just like, why would I buy that coating? Who is this company? They have great branding and great videos and great logos and so forth, but who is behind it? You know what I mean? That's my answer. So, but
yeah, so you're saying that basically
that you need to have a resume first.
Well, yeah. So in a way, you're looking for a mentor. So one of the qualifications for a mentor is somebody that should have a proven track record, somebody who's actually accomplished.
Because then no one can prove you wrong either, right? Like
right.
People, it's like making fun of yourself first, right? Like if I make fun of myself first, nothing you say is going to hurt me. Know what I mean? So like, if you're,
is that the 8 mile
maybe, I guess I heard that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so
we might have the same person.
I think we did. But the same thing, like to piggyback on what DJ's saying, like if he's lived it and he's done it, no one else can tell him any other way when he's spewing out information, right? Because like you can't,
it might, it could be wrong here and there. I mean, it's my information.
It's your truth.
If you don't like it, then
everybody has their own way of doing stuff. Just because you view it one way and the other person views it another way doesn't mean it's wrong. It's just all about perception.
And so it goes back to Jimbo's point earlier. Document everything.
Yeah.
Like document everything. Learn how to document, and that becomes your personal brand. What?
Hold on, Cody's got something.
He's way down at the end of the table. We can't hear you. Way down there.
There's guys that are in this industry.
They're not going to hear you from here. You got to come down.
There's young guys. There's young guys like me that are not going to say like. There's young guys in the industry that are upcoming and are very good at what they do. Then there's also guys in this industry that talk. And they're like, oh, I've been doing this for 28 years, blah, 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 blah. Well, whenever I hear that you've been doing it for 20 years, that doesn't matter to me because the industry changes so much.
Well, you could have been also, though, from another perspective, they could have been doing it wrong for 28 years.
Exactly.
I spent 11 years in offshore oil and gas, and just because you've been doing it longer than me doesn't mean you know what you're talking about.
And I hear all the time, like, throw how long they've been detailing for their experience. I'm like, okay,
that don't mean shit.
Like, just throw back at you.
Well, okay. No, I get it. And I'm going to say something, and don't misunderstand me. What's that got to do with personal branding? That's what we're talking, like.
I was going off with DJ.
He was piggybacking off the DJ, I think. But
that wasn't a negative. I was saying, how do we tie that into creating a personal brand?
I think you got to be consistent too. Just put it out all the time.
So I wasn't shooting your answer down. I was kind of trying to tie it in. That's what I was trying to do.
About how well of a salesman you have to be to sell your like it's all about you being a salesman, who you are as a person for your company to grow. I did hear him say that earlier.
Yeah.
I feel like that's
no, and like that's what I was saying. I wasn't shooting your answer. I was trying to tie it in by showing that you know what you're doing and consistently documenting and being a personal brand and showing that you're a personal brand. It creates that aspect of showing who you are. Yeah. That just because it doesn't matter how long you've been doing it.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah. Awesome, man. That's some great information.
Cool.
All right, so let's kind of
Yep.
wind it down. We're
This is the longest podcast.
this is the longest
You're welcome.
podcast ever. We are going for a record. Jimbo just said you're welcome.
The giveaway. I mean, if you listen to the very end.
Do a giveaway? Yes. Let's give away a Jimbo.
Let's do it.
Let's give away the Jimbo hat signed by Marty, the one he's wearing right now.
No, that's my
I'll send
hat,
you another
bitch.
one.
Actually, my hat.
No, it was just sitting on your desk.
Oh, for how long?
Well,
So that's
until the
how
podcast.
I've been rocking it every day.
Yes,
Hey,
sir.
Jimbo.
Yep.
Hey, question. Hey, you came out, so on
Yep.
the personal brand side, you had your mobile detailing
Yep.
business, which you still have. You came
Yep.
out with a podcast, so personal branding to the T. I misunderstood. I thought it was the Jimbo Auto Detailing Podcast, but I guess it's just the Auto. I
Did you not
apologize.
listen? You not subscribed, bro?
I am.
I'm subscribed.
I'm pretty
A
sure
little disappointed.
on his voicemail, on his phone,
300
he says Jimbo's Auto Detailing
I
Podcast.
actually
Start
say
300.
Jimbo's Auto Detailing and the Auto Detailing Podcast.
No!
Yep.
I'm pretty sure I've
Alright,
heard Jimbo's Auto Detailing Podcast.
Call my name.
Hey, either way, you
Yep.
still branded it. You still went
Yep,
with the
yep.
personal brand, right? Like it is. It's branded Jimbo's podcast.
Jimbo, what's the furthest you've known someone to go as branding themselves as on their business?
What do you mean by that?
Like putting their face on the side of your truck?
I've never seen that.
Very recognizable image, I'll have you know.
Okay, so I did see.
See his face, no detailing.
That's great.
So Jimbo, Ian has a big cartoon image of himself
But-
all over
But
his
do
truck.
customers remember it? There you go. Boom.
Yeah,
It's like that was the accidental mistake I made.
You're that Richard guy. So can you just give me some quick dates and stuff in my car? Gently, please.
Yeah. Seems to fit
Oh
aggressive.
man, that's funny. That's awesome.
All right. So anyway, where was
Yep,
I headed?
straight down the drain, probably.
Yeah, squirrel. Damn it. Damn it. I chased the squirrel. I know. We're trying to wrap it up. Well, I was headed
Yep.
somewhere.
Must have been important.
You were completely into personal branding, and there was a
Yep.
question. But
There
it's
it
gone.
went.
It's gone.
There's knowledge
Yeah.
bombs all over this podcast.
Yeah.
There's just
Nuggets everywhere.
Yeah. Totally great. All right. So, Jimbo, tell us where do people find you? What is your Insta or Facebook?
Yep. Well, I'm everywhere. I'm internet. I have internet omnipresence. Still have my goal. I'm joking. My goal is.
No,
My
you're not.
end goal is that you can Google the name Jimbo and I pop up. I'm not quite there yet because freaking Jimbo Fisher in Florida, dick.
Oh, I was going to say there
What a
can't be
dick,
too
huh?
many Jimbos. Like,
So-
you got to get up there pretty quick.
Wait, is that your real name? Like
Birth certificate, it's James, but that's just boring. So I've
Jimbo?
always been called Jimbo. My dad gave me the nickname literally the day I was born, and I've always gone by it. But I'm Jimbo Balaam on the internet, and the Auto Detailing Podcast on the internet. So everywhere you go, you could just type in the Auto Detailing Podcast or Jimbo Balaam, and I'm there.
I mean, you're famous. You can't walk around SEMA for more than 3 seconds without getting stopped for a selfie.
And you know, I'm
You're laughing, but-
hoping this year's even. I hope there's even more selfies. I'm competing with Kevin Davis on who can take more selfies.
You mean who has
Well,
the best?
that's
gear?
already won, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mic drop. Hey, so Jimbo, can I take a selfie
Absolutely.
with you?
Keep his hat
Yeah, you got to keep the hat on.
Yeah.
Your hair.
I don't want to.
Yeah,
I don't want to
I'm
be
gonna take
embarrassed.
the selfie, right? You promise I can
I
take
promise
a selfie
you.
with you? Okay, we're gonna take it on Tuesday
You got it.
night.
Well, is that? I
Right.
got to make sure that's not Halloween though, because I won't be there on Halloween.
You know, Wednesday. Wednesday
So
is
I will
Halloween.
not be there until. Oh crap! That sucks. All right, we'll figure it out. I'll be there.
So hopefully I can take it with you Tuesday night, and I think we've narrowed it down to Ellis Island Casino, where we're going to host a pints and polishing, help us float a keg party. We're inviting a bunch of detailers out, free beer, and you get pint glasses. You're going to need a ticket in. It's completely free. You'll have some tickets that hopefully you can hand out if you're there. We're going to hand out to where we get 100 people in to just drink beer and hang out.
I love that. That's a freaking great idea.
Hopefully I can take a selfie with you.
Let's do it. I might have to fly in, fly home, and then fly back.
He's a big baller.
Or drive. I don't know. Or try to get out of Halloween. I don't know if that's going to happen.
Trust me, he will make enough off of his podcast. It seems it will not be a drama.
Yeah, Marty, we'll have to talk about that again, huh? Just kidding.
Yeah. All right, so DJ, tell us where people find you.
At DJ Patterson on Instagram, Facebook. That's where I'm at.
Mr. Redbeard?
Facebook and Instagram at Redbeard Detail Shop.
Mr. Cody Duvall?
At T-Duvall 918 Instagram.
I thought it was like C underscore or something. No?
T-Duvall 918.
C Duvall.
Duvall, D-U-V-A-L-L.
D-U-V-A-L-L.
918.
All right. So we are Total Auto Solutions. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook. Hey, but let's clarify. What is your podcast name? It's the Auto Detailing Podcast.
The Auto Detailing Podcast.
Auto Detailing Podcast.
Yes.
So here's why I was asking. I want people to go on iTunes and the different places and rate Jimbo's
I appreciate
podcast
that.
a 5. Leave a comment. That's a big deal for him. Go on to our podcast, Pints and Polishing Podcast. If you like what we do, leave us a review and a rating. It'd be greatly appreciated.
And Marty, can you?
If you like what we're doing, make sure you give us a review.
Yep.
We're trying to provide value for you guys, and so is Jimbo.
And beer money.
And beer money.
I need more beer money, right?
Yeah. Help us out. Leave us a review. Share his stuff. Share our stuff on Instagram. Let's grow together,
guys.
Well, literally, if you look at the other podcasts in the industry, they're all.
I mean, we're smoking them, right?
Jimbo's is very informative. It's very nice.
That's what I like to think.
That's
what people tell me.
Yeah. We like your podcast.
I like your podcast.
We listen to yours. We've listened to it for a long time. We've always thought you have the best podcast you do. You got the best podcast in the automotive industry.
I want to know what you drink every morning to be so consistent.
I don't know.
I mean, okay, so what kind of coffee do you drink? Because if you say you don't drink coffee,
I do. I drink.
You're a fucking alien. What do you?
I drink a lot of.
You go to Starbucks every day?
I make coffee at home, and I usually have Starbucks every day. So I like the blonde Americanos, man. Those got me right now.
Okay, from Starbucks for sure. How many shots of espresso?
I just whatever comes in it. I just usually get a grande or a venti blonde Americano.
Okay, so 4 or 5. And then at home you get like Folgers, like dark roast.
So I actually.
Hold on. I'm asking him what kind of coffee. How dare you? Can you let him?
Is that even
I
coffee?
actually no.
But
That's dirt. I actually get There's a local coffee shop in my town that roasts their own beans, and I go get fresh roasted beans from them and ground them up and put them in my drip coffee maker every morning.
Drip coffee.
Wow.
Jimbo,
That's a California
style.
So that's how I roll.
So coffee, I was at Trader Joe's, and they have a Ethiopian coffee that I grabbed the other day to try out.
Was it dark?
Wow.
Oh my God.
I can
totally politically.
But
Nice job, DJ. Yes, it was a very skinny coffee. It was in a very small package.
was it a dark roast?
Yes. It was a very dark roast. I've had it the last 2 mornings, and it's got so much, it is beyond. I've been a Starbucks.
Okay.
I thought Starbucks was good. This coffee had I can't explain how much space
Wow.
I have. It's incredible.
That's cool.
I highly recommend.
Awesome.
All right. Anyway,
All right, boys.
Jimbo,
Yep.
you got to run. You got a
Yep.
family. Thank you so much
man.
for all the time that you took
Thank
out.
you guys.
Really appreciate
I'm going to put
it.
this up on my show on Monday too. So hopefully we can, the collaboration will be beneficial for both of us.
Yeah, I do. I think
Cool.
so much. Thanks for coming on.
All right, fellas.
We'll see you
Sounds
soon.
good. Bye.